How did the Dominican Republic, a small island in the Caribbean, become so good at creating baseball legends? It's almost as if there's a factory hidden somewhere on the island with a neon sign out front that flashes "Baseball Superstars Made Here." Believe it or not, this country, no larger than a dot on some world maps, has become a baseball powerhouse, sending not one or two, but 6 players to dominate on a single MLB team. That's right, the Dominican Republic is making waves in the major leagues, contributing to over 10% of all players. It's almost as though the water there brews baseball talent. So, what's the magic behind baseball in the Dominican Republic? How is it that a tiny island nation produces so many players who hit it big in the US? Strap in, because we're about to dive deep into a story where baseball isn't just a sport, it's practically the national currency. Let's time travel back to the United States, the cradle of baseball, where the first known reference to the sport dates back to a college student's writings in 1786. Fast forward through time, and baseball starts popping up in colleges and evolving into professional teams quicker than a fastball. By the dawn of the 20th century, 2 wealthy Americans decided to put a ring on it, formalizing these teams into what became the National and American Leagues. Together, they formed the behemoth known as Major League Baseball, or MLB. From then on, it was a battle royale every year to clinch the World Series title. The inaugural World Series turned out to be an instant blockbuster, drawing in crowds by the thousands and raking in cash like it was going out of fashion. Meanwhile, baseball had been quietly making its way to the Dominican Republic, courtesy of Cuba. The sport landed in Havana in the 1860s, brought back by Cuban students who were studying in the US and had become enamored with baseball. They formed teams, and soon baseball became the buzz of the town, quickly spreading from the Cuban elite to the working masses. If you were a boss who was into baseball, chances were you'd get your employees hooked too, just so you'd have more people to play with. Baseball needed to win over the working class to become a national emblem, and boy, did it catch on! The Cuban love for baseball was so infectious that they carried it with them to the Dominican Republic during the 1860s as they fled from a massive rebellion against the sugar plantation elites. Many found a new home in the Dominican Republic, not forgetting to bring their baseball gloves along. At first, baseball was the sport of choice for the wealthy in the capital, but it didn't take long for the game to capture the hearts of the working class, particularly in places like San Pedro de Macorís. Here, the Cuban exiles had set up sugar refineries and ingeniously found a way to make their workers fall in love with baseball. They offered them a day off if their team could outplay a team from a nearby refinery. Suddenly, baseball games between refineries turned into the island's hottest events, igniting a national passion for the sport. But this was just the beginning. The real magic happened as these refinery games became more than just matches. They became community events where victories were celebrated as national triumphs. This was where local legends were born, with players showcasing their talent, hoping to catch the eye of someone who could propel them to greater heights. It wasn't just about winning, it was about pride, about proving that despite being from a small island, they could play ball as well as anyone from the mainland. As baseball fever swept across the Dominican Republic, it wasn't long before makeshift fields popped up in every neighborhood, each game drawing larger crowds than the last. Children grew up dreaming not of becoming doctors or lawyers, but of swinging bats and pitching strikes. Baseball was more than a game. It was a ticket to a better life, a dream that every young player chased with fervor. The island's obsession with baseball didn't go unnoticed by the major leagues in the US. Soon, scouts were making trips to the Dominican Republic, eager to uncover the next big star. The Dominican Republic had become a gold mine of baseball talent, a place where dreams of grand slams and perfect games could become reality. In the world of Dominican baseball, every hit, every catch, and every pitch was a step toward the ultimate goal, making it to the major leagues. It was a journey of determination where only the strongest, most talented, and most dedicated would make it. But for those who did, the rewards were immeasurable, not just in terms of fame and fortune, but in the pride of representing their country on the world's biggest baseball stage. In a twist that would make even the most seasoned soap opera writers blush, the baseball world witnessed a transformation that turned the Dominican Republic into a veritable factory of baseball legends. Imagine a place so rich in baseball talent that it felt like every second person could throw a curveball in their sleep or hit a home run blindfolded. Yes, we're talking about the Dominican Republic, a small island nation that somehow managed to produce an astonishing percentage of Major League Baseball players, turning heads and raising eyebrows all over the big leagues. This was a place where baseball wasn't just a sport, it was akin to a national treasure, deeply woven into the fabric of daily life. But how did baseball become the heartbeat of the Dominican Republic? To understand this, we must journey back to the birthplace of baseball, the United States, where the sport's roots can be traced back to a college student's musings in 1786. Fast forward through history, and we find baseball evolving from a college pastime to a full-blown professional spectacle, with the National and American Leagues laying the foundation for what would become the MLB. The early days of baseball were like the Wild West, with teams emerging from coast to coast and the World Series quickly becoming the showdown every team wanted to win. Meanwhile, a baseball revolution was quietly brewing in the Dominican Republic thanks to its close neighbor, Cuba. Cuban students who had been exposed to baseball in the US brought the sport back to Havana in the 1860s, igniting a passion that would spread like wildfire. Before long, baseball was not just the sport of the elite, but had captured the hearts of the working class, becoming a symbol of national pride and identity. Baseball in the Dominican Republic took on a life of its own, especially during the US occupation in the early 20th century. Despite the tension and strife of the occupation, Dominicans found a way to express their defiance and pride through baseball, often beating the US troops in friendly games that were anything but friendly. These victories were more than just wins on the scoreboard. They were a declaration of resilience and national pride. The seeds of professional baseball had been sown in the Dominican Republic, and by the 1930s, the local leagues were flourishing. However, the path to the MLB was fraught with challenges, not least because of the segregation policies that kept many of the island's best players from joining the big leagues. But then came a seismic shift. In the 1950s, as the MLB scoured Cuba for talent, politics threw a curveball that no one saw coming. The Cuban Revolution and the ensuing embargo forced the MLB to look elsewhere for talent, and the Dominican Republic, with its burgeoning baseball culture, was ready to step up to the plate. The MLB's focus on the Dominican Republic was not just a stroke of luck, it was a strategic move that capitalized on the island's passion for baseball and its untapped pool of talent. Scouts flocked to the Dominican Republic, eager to find the next big star, and what they found was a goldmine. The Dominican Republic was no longer just a stopover, it became a central hub for baseball talent, feeding the MLB's insatiable appetite for stars. The early 20th century US occupation, initially a period of strife and resistance, inadvertently laid the groundwork for baseball's rise in the Dominican Republic. Dominicans' love for the game, honed in games against US troops, became a defining feature of the nation's identity. This passion for baseball, coupled with the MLB's recognition of the Dominican Republic as a talent hotspot, transformed the island into a baseball powerhouse. The establishment of baseball academies in the 1970s and 1980s by pioneers like Epi Guerrero and Ralph Avila further cemented the Dominican Republic's status as a breeding ground for baseball talent. These academies, backed by MLB teams, provided a structured path for young players to develop their skills and eventually make their mark in the major leagues. The impact of these academies cannot be overstated. They have become a fixture in the Dominican Republic, with each MLB team now operating its own academy on the island. This system has not only enriched the MLB with hundreds of Dominican players, but has also turned baseball into a significant source of income and pride for the Dominican Republic. Yet, despite the success and financial benefits, the relationship between Dominican players and the MLB is marked by a disparity in contract values. Dominican players, integral to the MLB's talent pool, often sign for less than their American counterparts, highlighting an ongoing issue within the sport. So, instead of making a splash in the States, the Dominican Republic's Pro League decided to shake things up by inviting over the big shots of American Negro League Baseball, who were getting the cold shoulder from MLB. Picture this, players from the Negro League heading to the Dominican Republic during their offseason to rake in some extra dough. Legends like Satchel Paige were pocketing thousands just for playing for Rafael Trujillo's team. Yeah, the same Trujillo who ran the Dominican Republic with an iron fist. Back when the Dominican Republic's baseball games were the talk of the town, the arrival of Negro League stars turned each match into an event not to be missed. Crowds flocked to see the magic of players who were stars in their own right, but had been sidelined by the MLB due to segregation. It was during this vibrant era, specifically in the late 1950s, when the barriers began to crumble and the MLB set its sights on the Dominican Republic, discovering a treasure trove of untapped talent. This shift was akin to stumbling upon a hidden gem, offering an extended, albeit unofficial path for scouting prowess that skirted the edges of colonial exploitation. The discovery was akin to hitting the baseball jackpot. The MLB realized they could sign Dominican talents for a fraction of the cost, polish their skills, and then unleash these transformed superstars onto the fields of the US. As the 1960s dawned, the MLB's expansion saw new teams springing up, all eager for fresh, exceptional players. Dominican talents like Ozzie, Bayo, the Alou brothers, and Juan Marichal were soon turning MLB games into spectacles, attracting legions of fans and redefining the sport. The appetite for Dominican talent grew insatiable, prompting the MLB to enlist the expertise of local scouts capable of spotting future stars. This led to the emergence of scouting legends like Epi Guerrero and Ralph Avila, who became the unsung heroes of baseball, identifying and nurturing the raw talent scattered across the Dominican landscape. Epi Guerrero, with his pioneering spirit, established the country's first baseball academy in the 1970s, aiming to sculpt the youthful potential into legendary status. Not to be outdone, Ralph joined the fray in 1987, aligning with the Los Angeles Dodgers to found another academy, which soon became a beacon of hope and transformation thanks to substantial investments. Together, Guerrero and Avila crafted a conduit for channeling Dominican players into the MLB, setting a new standard for talent development. Their approach was systematic and thorough. Scouts combed the island, much like detectives on the trail of the next big lead. Prospects were then put into rigorous trials, akin to a sporting rendition of America's Got Talent, where their skills were scrutinized under the intense gaze of baseball aficionados. Those who emerged as the cream of the crop were granted access to the hallowed grounds of the academy, embarking on a grueling journey of refinement and discipline. Survivors of this crucible were offered a shot at the minor leagues in the US, each step a testament to their enduring hope of breaking into the MLB. Yet, only a select few would navigate this gauntlet successfully to achieve their MLB dreams. This system revolutionized baseball in the Dominican Republic, providing a structured pathway for local talent to shine on the international stage. The academies became factories of dreams, churning out players who would go on to dazzle fans and critics alike in the MLB. The efforts of Guerrero, Avila, and countless others laid the groundwork for a new era of baseball, transforming the Dominican Republic into a powerhouse of talent that continues to enrich the sport to this day. The development of this talent pipeline was not just a boon for the players and the MLB. It was a testament to the relentless spirit of the Dominican Republic and their unwavering love for baseball. It illustrated the transformative power of dedication, vision, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. The journey from local fields to the glittering stadiums of the MLB is a story of aspiration, perseverance, and the indomitable will to succeed against all odds. As the system matured, the impact was profound, both on and off the field. The academies didn't just produce players, they generated hope, opportunity, and a sense of pride that resonated throughout the Dominican Republic. This model of talent cultivation became a blueprint for success, demonstrating that with the right support, guidance, and infrastructure, the dreams of young athletes could indeed become a vivid reality. Ramon Martinez was like a comet shooting straight from the Dominican academies into the heart of the MLB universe, landing on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Not too long after, he was casting spells on the mound, pitching a no-hitter and dazzling fans as if he wielded a wizard's wand. This magical feat caught the eyes of other MLB teams, sparking a rush to establish their own academies on the island. This was the beginning of a scouting and training frenzy that unearthed gems like Robinson Cano and Sammy Sosa, turning the Dominican Republic into a baseball star factory. Today, the landscape of the Dominican Republic is speckled with 30 academies, a testament to each MLB team's investment in unearthing Dominican talent. This network of academies has been a game changer, catapulting hundreds of Dominican athletes into the major leagues. The roots of many of these baseball prodigies trace back to historic sugar mill towns, with San Pedro de Macorís emerging as the cradle of baseball greatness in the country. Here, the dream of making it big to the MLB and earning millions is alive and well. However, the reality of signing contracts often reveals a stark disparity. Despite their immense talent, Dominican players frequently ink deals significantly lower than those offered to their American counterparts, highlighting an economic imbalance heavily favoring the MLB. On the flip side, the Dominican Republic itself has hit a financial home run with the Baseball Academy system, injecting approximately $125 million annually into the economy and creating a multitude of jobs. Beyond the realms of agriculture and tourism, baseball has claimed its spot as the nation's third largest economic powerhouse. Nevertheless, amidst this success story, there's a chorus of Dominican MLB stars advocating for change. They're leveraging their prominence to champion a more equitable system that recognizes and rewards players from both countries on an equal footing. Baseball in the Dominican Republic transcends the boundaries of mere sport. It's a deeply ingrained cultural passion and a source of national pride. Dominicans have left an indelible mark on baseball, igniting a battle for supremacy within the sport that transcends borders. This ongoing struggle isn't just about who plays the game, but about reshaping the very foundation of baseball to ensure fairness and equality. The journey from Dominican academies to the MLB has become a narrative of aspiration, ambition, and occasionally contention. It's a story that mirrors broader themes of talent migration, economic disparity, and the quest for a level playing field. As Dominican stars continue to shine in the MLB, their fight for recognition and respect does more than just highlight their achievements, it challenges the status quo, advocating for a future where the value of a player is not determined by their nationality, but by their contribution to the game.